In 1932, an unusual conflict unfolded in Western Australia, a war unlike any other, where the Australian military took up arms not against human invaders but against a relentless feathered foe. This real-life battle against emus, one of the world's largest flightless birds, has become a legendary tale of persistence, frustration, and the sheer absurdity of facing off against nature. The background: a nation in crisis. To understand why the Great Emu War happened, we need to go back to the economic and social landscape of post-World War I Australia. After the war, many veterans were given land by the government as a thank you for their service. This initiative was intended to help the country develop its agricultural sector. Unfortunately, the timing could not have been worse. The Great Depression struck, causing wheat prices to plummet and leaving farmers struggling to make ends meet. The government had promised subsidies to help the farmers, but financial constraints meant that this promise was not kept. Desperate to survive, these farmers worked tirelessly to protect their crops from all sorts of threats. However, one particular challenge proved beyond their control: emus. Enter the emu army. Emus, native to Australia, are no ordinary birds. Standing over 5 feet tall and weighing around 100 pounds, they are powerful runners capable of reaching speeds of up to 30 miles per hour. Each year, emus migrate across the country in search of food and water. In 1932, a large group estimated to be around 20,000 emus descended upon Western Australian farmlands. For these birds, the farmers' wheat fields were a feast; for the farmers it was a nightmare. The emus trampled crops, broke fences, and consumed the very food that struggling farmers needed for survival. Driven by frustration and desperation, the farmers sought help from the Australian government. They wanted protection from this unexpected invasion. The government's response: military intervention. The Australian government took the request seriously and decided to deploy the military to handle the emu crisis. This may sound extreme, but in the context of the times, severe economic hardship and threats to food security, the decision, while unconventional, seemed rational. Minister of Defence Sir George Pearce approved the military operation, believing that a small, well-armed force could easily eliminate the emu threat. Thus, Major G.P.W. Meredith of the Royal Australian Artillery was assigned to lead the mission. He was accompanied by 2 soldiers armed with 2 Lewis machine guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. The first engagement: chaos in Campion. The operation began in early November 1932 near Campion, Western Australia, where emus were sighted in large numbers. The soldiers' first encounter with their feathered adversaries was anything but straightforward. On November 2, 1932, the troops located a group of around 50 emus and prepared to engage. As they readied their machine guns, anticipation was high. The farmers and soldiers expected quick results. However, emus are notoriously fast and unpredictable. As soon as the soldiers opened fire, the emus scattered, running in all directions. The machine gun fire was largely ineffective, as the birds quickly escaped beyond the range of the weapons. After expending a significant amount of ammunition, the soldiers managed to kill only a handful of birds. The rest escaped unharmed, leaving the troops bewildered. Emu tactics: guerrilla warfare in the outback. Over the next several days, Major Meredith and his men tried different tactics to outmaneuver the emus. They attempted ambushes, set traps, and even mounted one of the machine guns on a truck to chase down the birds. However, this tactic also failed spectacularly. The rough terrain made it nearly impossible to aim accurately, and the truck often broke down or was outrun by the emus. Even more embarrassing, the emus seemed to learn from their encounters. Large groups would split into smaller, faster-moving units, making them even harder to target. Major Meredith later remarked on the emu's resilience and adaptability, comparing them to well-trained soldiers. He noted that each bird seemed to possess military-like tactics and was capable of withstanding multiple rounds of gunfire without slowing down. Public perception and media ridicule. News of the military's struggle spread quickly. Australian newspapers had a field day with headlines mocking the government's war against birds. Public opinion turned against the operation, and the story became an object of national, and eventually international, ridicule. The government, facing mounting embarrassment and spiraling costs, decided to withdraw the military after only a week of active engagement. By this point, it was clear that the emus had won. Only a few hundred birds were killed, far fewer than what was needed to make a meaningful impact on their population. The aftermath: emu victory. The military withdrawal did not mark the end of the farmers' emu problem. The birds continued to ravage crops, and farmers were left to fend for themselves. Over time, other solutions were tried, such as offering bounties for emu kills and erecting better fences. These efforts met with varying degrees of success, but nothing quite matched the strange spectacle of a military campaign gone wrong. The Great Emu War has since become a source of humor and incredulity, a testament to the power of nature and the limits of human planning. It stands as a quirky chapter in Australia's history, a reminder that sometimes even the best equipped armies are no match for determined wildlife.